Good afternoon, everyone, and why not say good evening, since this amazing moment will extend into our evening, early evening today. Welcome, everyone. I would like to also acknowledge all of those who will be following us later on and streaming this video on demand. I would like to acknowledge our presence here. We will be streaming this amazing talk through YouTube and Facebook and sharing with you this amazing moment. Tonight, or this afternoon, our dear friend Joao Korngold will be speaking with us about mediumship and education. Before we go on and introduce our speaker of this afternoon, I would like to share with you a passage of the book Happy Life, and then go over a short prayer so we can truly focus on this amazing moment that we will have together here. Joanna de Angelis says, whatever social relationships you maintain, the situations that will take your measure always take you by surprise and find you alone. Friends, companions can share our pain, but your pain will always be your own personal cross. Nor could it be any different, supported by divine justice. Every man pays back according to his debt and grows in conformance with the situation where he erred. Equip yourself with peace and prepare yourself for the inevitable ascension that is required of you. On this note, I would like to invite everyone for us to pray. And as we say the prayer, please connect with the words, connect with the feelings, connect with this evening so that we can bring these teachings, these reminders that we will be seeing this evening into our hearts, into our homes, and make our lives better. This way, we ask you, dear Father, Mother God, to guide us all. Illuminate our minds and our hearts as we share this amazing moment with one another. May we partake in this brotherhood, compassion, this moment that energizes us to become a better human being, to connect with our mentors, and to illuminate us all into a new beginning. We also share this moment with our brothers and sisters who are in need. We also share this moment with those who may not even be open for a moment like this, where we stop and we come together to accept something new, to accept a reminder in which each one of us are responsible for our future and the future of our brothers and sisters. May this evening be a point of light for all of us. May you guide each one of us and our brother Joao Korngold, who will be leading this evening's talk. We thank you, and so be it. So as we like to welcome our friends who come and share a moment with us at the SSB, we always like to remind everyone that the speakers that we bring to the SSB before anything is a brother or sister, someone who is just like us, trying our best to become better individuals, better citizens of not only this nation, but planet Earth and the universe as well. We thank you, Joao, for sharing this moment with us. We thank your wife, your family for giving us the ability to be with you, because we know that we could be doing many different things and share a moment like this. Joao Korngold is one of the founders and directors of the Spiritist Group of New York, SGNY, and the Spiritist Alliance for Books, SAB, that promotes and disseminates Spiritism in English. He has been one of the directors of the Mediumship meeting for the past 18 years. He is also responsible for study groups at the SGNY that focus on the basic books of Spiritism and on the André Luiz collection. He gives talks on Spiritism in Portuguese and English. Joao Korngold is an engineer, and professionally, he works as a banker. Tonight, our dear friend will be speaking with us about mediumship education. For many of us, it's a topic that we always try to understand, that we go deeper. But tonight, it will involve everything that will lead us, those who are starting or trying to understand the beginning of mediumship education, but for those as well who have some understanding. So it can help all of us. With no further ado, we'll pass the word to Joao, please.
Good evening, Leonardo. Good evening, friends from SSP. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again, virtually this time, but we are, continuing our work, and it's important for us to continue disseminating Spiritism, and this is a wonderful instrument that we have nowadays. The idea of this talk is to go from the very beginning to a little bit more depth into mediumship. When we talk about mediumship education, we want to bring the idea, what is mediumship from the very beginning. For those that do not really fully understand mediumship and how it works, and those that are working in mediumship meetings, that are involved with mediumship and are more prepared to go deeper into the understanding of mediumship. So we have to start by thinking about spirit manifestation. What Allan Kardec tells us. Of course, if the spirits communicate with us, why do they communicate with us? That's the first and very basic question of mediumship. The providential aim of spirit manifestation, as said by Allan Kardec in What is Spiritism, Chapter 2, Item 50, is to convince disbelievers that all does not end for human beings when their life on earth ends, and to give to believers a more correct idea regarding the future. So, did Spiritism invent mediumship? Not at all, not even close. We have mediumship since, like I heard from, I think from Divaldo, since there was one incarnate being and one discarnate being, we have mediumship. So we only need one person incarnated, one spirit in the spiritual world to have communications between the two different planes of existence. Now, Spiritism, together with reincarnation, Spiritism brought the complete study and understanding of what's the purpose of mediumship. So, I always like to say in regards to reincarnation, that according to what research that I saw here in the US, like 30% of Americans believe in reincarnation. And probably 29.9% have no idea how reincarnation works. Spiritism brings a complete explanation of the reason and the whys of reincarnation. And Spiritism brings a complete reasoning and the whys of mediumship. So once we know that spirit manifestation exists, then Kardec tells us we are all mediums. So why are we all mediums? Because if you understand and accept the idea that we have a guardian angel or a spirit protector, so for us, in order to communicate with a guardian angel or spirit protector, we have to be a medium. So Kardec tells us we are all mediums. We all have the ability to be an intermediary between the spiritual world and the physical world. Now we are going to study better what really are mediums in the sense that we use in Spiritism. So everyone who is in any degree influenced by spirits is a medium. Now, even when we don't register it consciously, the communication between the two planes, or the dead and the living, it's a continuous source of inspiration for us. We are always connected with the spiritual world. It may be our spiritual benefactors, it may be our familial spirits, it may be our obsessors, but we are always in connection with the spiritual world. How we connect and what we allow to come to us depends on our vibration, on our openness to the influences of the spiritual world. So the influence on the Spirits book, question 459, the Spirits tells us that the influence of spirits upon you is greater than you think, for very frequently it is they who guide you. This is very important. So what the spirits are telling us is that the spirits have a much larger participation in our lives than we like to admit. So the question is, where is mediumship located? Mediumship is based in the physical body, of course. We have a physical body and we have a spiritual body, or the perispirit. So the mediumship happens when there is a partial emancipation of the perispirit, and the spirit of the medium gets perceptions and spiritual faculties that normally are blocked by our physical body. So the mediumship is a partial separation of the perispirit from the physical body to be in better conditions to connect with the spiritual world. And the occurrence of mediumship can happen both through merit or through spiritual needs. Why some are mediums, what we call ostensive mediums, and others are not. Depend on the choices we have to go through in our physical lives. Sometimes our missions, sometimes our spiritual needs, the need for us to be more involved with the spiritual world. So the question is a basic question. How can we identify mediumship? Kardec tells us, unfortunately, until today, no diagnosis can be inferred, even approximately, that someone has that faculty. The physical signs in which some people think they see evidence are not infallible. So it's very important for us to understand that you cannot, by the signs of or how the person is behaving, tell if the person is a medium or not. Only through following in a series of experiences that we'll be able to understand if a person is a medium or not. And we have to always take into account that people will fake, people will pretend, people will think they are mediums when they are really in other obsession types of connections. We have people arriving at the Spiritist Center all the time saying that they are feeling strange things, that they are mediums and they need to know better what's happening to them. And once they start studying or start even sometimes working in mediumship meetings, their mediumship never really develops or appears. So the signs that they had is what we call a calling to go to the Spiritist Center because it's what they needed. But mediumship was never present there. So there is no real science to identify mediumship. There are studies that say that mediumship is located in the pineal gland, but even that is not 100% guaranteed. It's the most likely scenario, but it's not fully proved. So what are the signs or symptoms of mediumship for all those that think they are mediums? So first, the appearance of mediumship does not depend on place, age, social condition, or gender. We have the famous example of one of the antecessors of Spiritism, precursors of Spiritism, Mr. Swedenborg, a Swedish fellow that lived in the end of the 18th century, that started to develop his mediumship when he was 55 years old and published one of the most interesting books pre-Spiritism called Heaven and Hell, that has a lot of similarities with Spiritism. So he started his mediumship with 55 years old. Divaldo Franco and Chico Xavier started their mediumship from very early age. We heard from both of them stories from when they were 4 or 5 years old. It's important to understand also, when talking about the age where mediumship appears, that from 0 to 7, a child it's still living between the two worlds. So signs of mediumship in young children is not a guarantee that they are mediums, because they are much more easily interacting with the spiritual world than older people. So that's why we have a lot of children that have invisible friends. In reality, they have their friends in the spiritual world. They are seeing them. For them, it's the reality, and they are real. We should never dismiss them. But normally what they say is don't dismiss, don't give too much importance, because if you start giving too much importance, they start to fantasize, to create on top of it, because children's imagination goes further. So, as we said, it can appear during childhood, adolescence, youth, at a mature age, or even in the elderly. We have the example of Swedenborg with 55 years old, but even later you can become a medium. So you never know. And it can manifest anywhere, really, at home, in the Spiritist center, even in materialistic persons. They will have mediumship without clearly understand what's happening to them, and a lot of people try to deny and hide behind their mediumship, try to run away from mediumship, and the signs of mediumship, they vary to the infinite. It can be emotional reactions, it can be apparent sickness, shivers, indispositions, moral and physical, excessive irritability. What happens is if most people that do not understand about mediumship and do not understand what's happening to them, they end up trying to run away from it through sometimes drinking. We have the famous case of Alison Dubois here, one of the famous mediums here in the US that was the basis for that series Medium that was on TV many years ago, and she became almost an alcoholic to try to escape from her mediumship. And only once she accepted it and started to work with it was that she was able to get better. So unfortunately, because of the lack of understanding of mediumship, people try to run away from it. So we have spirit communications that we know. So what are the levels of spirit communications? We can have the subliminal, which exists or functions without the manifestation. So when Einstein told us that the discovery is 90% perspiration and there 10% inspiration, the 10% is the spirit communication, is the assistance of the spirits, is what you can call intuition. So it happens to all of us, and it's just if we commit ourselves to work, they will be there to assist us. But here, really, we are more focused on the ostensible mediumship. So the ostensible mediumship is evident to the medium and can be either conscious, semi-conscious, or unconscious during the manifestation. What do you mean by semi-conscious, conscious, or unconscious? So conscious is when the medium receives the communication from the spirit, it goes through the brain, and the medium communicates either through writing, called psychography, or psychophony, talking. So the medium knows what they are going to write or talk about before they talk. The semi-conscious is when the communication goes through the medium directly through the brain, but the medium becomes aware of it as it is giving the communication. So it doesn't realize the communication before it gives, but during the communication. And the unconscious is the one that it happens without the medium being aware of what's happening. Francisco Xavier, who was an unconscious medium, it is said that he could write with both hands and have a conversation at the same time because he was an unconscious medium. Of course, all mediums would love to be unconscious because then they will have no responsibility in a sense of on their mediumship, which is not really true. But of course, the conscious mediums are the ones that are more influenced by their mediumship. So the best example that I learned from the differences between these three mediums was given by Elmo, our director at SGNY, that he gave the example of a computer. So your computer breaks, and you ask for assistance of a service, an external service. There are three ways that are going to help you. Either they will take over your computer and they will do the work with you just watching what they are doing, and that's the unconscious. Or they will tell you what to do. You type as they tell you without your even thinking what you are doing. Or they'll tell you, so press the keyboard, this thing, and do this and do that, and you are thinking and doing what you are asked to do. That's the conscious mediumship. But the computer is a good example because you are always in control. Even if the guy that is fixing your computer, the guy or the girl that is fixing your computer, if they start to do something you don't like, you can remove them. You can interrupt them on all three cases. And a medium can always interfere with the communication and control the communication in any of the three aspects, and the conscious, semi-conscious, or the unconscious. So, since a mediumship is a natural faculty, it appears at the appropriate time. Normally, before our incarnation, if we are part of our reincarnation plan, we can choose to be a medium and choose to work with mediumship. If we are not involved in our reincarnation plan, the spirits, our guardian angels, our spirit protectors, can choose for us to have this physical ability of being a medium if it's going to be relevant for our incarnation. Again, plan is not something that is written in stone. We can always come and change our plan according to our free will. So nothing in Spiritism teaches us that nothing is written in stone. Anything can be changed according to our free will. The only certainty that we have in our incarnation is that's going to end, that our physical body is going to die one day. So anyone is entitled to be considered a medium if he or she is physically sensitive and capable of receiving and responding spiritual control and influence. Okay? So the emergence of mediumship can be spontaneous. They appear without generating discomfort, physical or emotional, to the beginning medium. The medium becomes, the signs appear and the medium doesn't feel any special discomfort. And it can be a mediumship, what we call a trial, when the medium will experience a lot of imbalances that will reflect in their physical bodies, that a lot of disturbances will appear, a lot of things will happen that they don't understand. And if they are lucky enough to have a spiritist center around them, and they go there and they follow what the teachings that Kardec gave to us and other spiritist teachings, they will be able to learn how to control their mediumship, to educate their mediumship, because the key word here is to educate our mediumship. You cannot get rid of your mediumship. Once you are a medium, you are a medium. You can educate it. So in educating your mediumship, it will only manifest when you allow it, when it's appropriate, not anytime and disturbing your life. So, can mediumship makes us you? In the book Be a Medium by Divaldo Franco, from the spirit Viana de Carvalho, it is said, it is not mediumship that is responsible for these bodily disturbances, but the fluidic action from the spirits may or may not favor the occurrence of these symptoms. So the mediumship itself is not going to make us ill. What we can feel is what the mediums feel, is what the spirit that is communicating is feeling, the spirit that is influencing is feeling. And sometimes the medium will think that they are sick when actually what they are feeling is what the spirit is feeling. And this should disappear once the spirit disconnects from the medium. If it does not, the medium needs to prepare themselves a little better and to use prayer and to use better education to learn how to completely disconnect from a spirit after the communication. So when the spiritual action is of an elevated level, the medium will feel peace, well-being, will feel all this positive energy, will have a pleasant sensation. So there are two types of mediumship, according to what we learned from Kardec. There are mediumship of physical effects and mediumship of intelligent effects or intellectual effects. What's the difference between these two mediumship? First, mediumship of physical effect that we'll find in the Medium's book, second part, chapter 4. Can a spirit act without resorting to a medium? No. A spirit can act without the medium being aware of it. So many persons help spirits to produce certain phenomena without even suspecting. A spirit cannot manifest in the spiritual world with the raps, the noises, any manifestation of physical effects, the table turnings that started all, without a medium being around. Now, the medium may be aware or may not be aware that they are medium. And of course, for mediumship of physical effect, what is needed is ectoplasm. And ectoplasm is produced by the medium, and the spirit will use its own energy, the ectoplasm of the medium, and sometimes more resources from nature, as it is explained in the medium's book. So mediumship of physical effects, really what happens is when there is a mediumship of physical effect, we all will see it. All of us who are present will be tested, will see it. So normally what I joke in the Spiritist Center, if there is a materialization of a spirit in the middle of a study group, half of the people will run away and the other half will stay and then tell their friends, and their friends won't believe it. So that's why mediumship of physical effect is not much used anymore, because the effect is it's temporary and cannot stay. But one thing that is clear is that everybody will see. So we have these materializations at the time of Francisco Xavier that you see here, you have the materialization of Sister Josefa. You have this pneumatophony, which is another type of mediumship of physical effects, which is spirit sounds. And you have direct writing of pneumatography, which is when you place a paper inside a drawer and then you go later and there is something written on the paper. There is no direct writing from a medium. The writing is done by the spirits utilizing ectoplasm that is available. And of course, you have what we call precipitation painting that you'll find in Lilydale in the museum there. Two or three beautiful paintings that were done in the 19th century, one of Abraham Lincoln. That is what we call precipitation, which is painting done without a medium, without a brush. It's very interesting. It's wonderful to see. So they are perceptible to the senses. They can be spontaneous, so independent of any human will, with the spirit doing it, or we can be artificially induced. The problem for the mediums of physical effects is that the mediumship itself is very exhausting. They get very depleted after these communications, and to replenish these energies, they use food, they use alcohol, they use sex, and that can be a problem, and it is a problem, as we have seen recently with mediums of physical effects that we know, and especially, we heard from old cases like Giuseppe Palladino, one of the most famous mediums, an Italian medium of physical effects in the beginning of the 20th century, that at a certain point she started faking because she was exhausted of being prodding and being abused by those that were experimenting with her mediumship. So mediumship of intelligent effect. This is what we are more used nowadays, is the psychography that we know Francisco Xavier and Divaldo has, and they produces books. We receive messages from the spirits. You can also call it automatic writing. Or you have psychophony, which is a trance mediumship, where the spirit connects perispirit to perispirit to the medium, and the medium will communicate verbally what the spirit wants to say. Now, it's always important to remember that the medium has total control on what the spirit wants to say. Sometimes we see in our meetings that the spirits complain that they're not allowed to express how they want to express themselves, and we always tell them, you can't say everything that you want to say. You can express your feelings, but you have to respect the ambient, and the words that are going to be used are respectful words, and they sometimes get very angry. So a medium has to have the control on what the spirit is, how the spirit acts. So again, we talked about the conscious mediumship, the semi-conscious mediumship, and the unconscious mediumship, but the pictures here will describe a little better in terms of how they really work. Meaning, the conscious mediumship, the spirit is communicating brain, the perispirit to perispirit going to the brain of the medium, and the medium is giving the communication. The semi-conscious, you see that the spirit communicates with the medium, and the medium immediately repeats or reflects what the spirit wants to say. And then the unconscious mediumship, which you see in the last picture, the perispirit of the medium is really detached from the physical body. It's more distant from the physical body, and the medium is unaware of what it is communicating. So let's get to the importance of a Spiritist center for the development and practice of mediumship, because we talk about mediumship and the importance of it, but really a Spiritist center is the right place for the development and practice of mediumship, because it's safe. It is a safe place. Your mediumship, you are not going to lose control of it, because you are surrounded by elevated energies, by the protection of the superior spirits that are the directors of the Spiritist meetings. And you have also the other companions, incarnated companions, that will help you control the Spiritist manifestation, the mediumistic manifestations. It offers the greatest opportunities for study and enlightenment regarding mediumship for all those who desire to use it into the benefit of others. And that's the main objective of mediumship, is to use it for the benefit of others. Again, that's according to Spiritism. Mediumship exists outside Spiritism. You see the spiritualist churches here in the US use mediumship all the time through communications. You see the psychics receiving communications from the spirits and charging for it. According to Spiritism, mediumship shall not be charged because what you receive for free, you should give for free. That's what Jesus told us. So it is possible in a Spiritist center, sorry, for the medium to slowly develop his or her faculties in a safe way, if placed in a harmonious and well-assisted group, wherein well-disciplined mediums are already full active. So you have an opportunity to go to a Spiritist center. There is always mediums that are more experienced, that have been working there for more time, that know how to exercise their mediumship and control their mediumship, and they are able to teach us, to allow us to learn with them and to exercise our mediumship, to develop our mediumship without the fear of being disturbed by it or harmed by it. So some truths about mediums and mediumships that are important for us to learn or to remember. Mediumship education spans the entire lifetime, because as the mediums improve their skill, they'll need additional resources that will be provided to them for the fulfillment of the assumed ministry. We hear this famous story of Divaldo that received a lot of communications from Joanna de Angelis, and then at a certain point she told him, now throw everything away and start from the beginning. And he said, but all of this, there's a lot of good information here. And she said, this was all exercise. Throw away everything, and now let's start work with it. So as we learn and educate ourselves better in the mediumship, our mediumship is going to evolve. And maybe we'll have different manifestations of mediumship that will help us and help us help others, which is in the end the main objective of mediumship. It should not be the result of rashness, because in such a matter, spontaneity is essential. We cannot force mediumship. We have to be accept its development in its natural path. Leon Denis teaches us that the individual has to undergo a complex preparation and observe certain behaviors in order to develop this precious gift, which is mediumship. While proper guidance as provided by Spiritism is important to the development of medium's faculty, we cannot discard, and actually is much more important, the personal effort and intense dedication of the medium are indispensable factors. If the medium does not dedicate himself or herself to the study, to the development, to the understanding of their mediumship, they can be prey of inferior spirits that can cause them harm, that can cause them to deviate from their correct path in the practice and development of their mediumship. One thing very important, there is no one type of mediumship that are more important than another, and nor are mediums that are stronger than others. All types of mediumship are important, and they just need to be utilized in a more efficient way by the Spiritist centers and by the mediums. And there is no mediums that are more important than others. All mediums are important if they are doing their work correctly. And they are not chosen by the divinity, people that possess ostensive faculties. It can be a trial, and a very difficult trial. Mediumship is in no way an indication of sanctification. It can actually be an indication of a responsibility assumed in our past, a necessity of correction of our path, and the mediumship is the way that brought us to look for better opportunities for ourselves, for us to be able to use it to be of assistance to others. So what will make the medium spiritually better is what the medium accomplishes with the gifts that it has. It's not what the mediumship performed, but really the evolution of the medium itself. So there are those that are more dedicated than others. They are more devoted, that renounce the physical life or matter and make a greater effort towards their self-improvement. These are the true mediums that will make a difference. And we need just to look at the history of Divaldo and of Francisco Xavier to see that what are dedicated mediums and what difference they really can make if they use their mediumship for assistance and for the progress of humankind. So basic guidelines. Under no circumstance should mediumistic development be attempted through the aid of organizations that promise fast and amazing results in just a few lessons or based on suspicious books. This is very important. You see nowadays people offering, you just have to look at the internet. There are weekend courses on how to develop your mediumship. Become a medium in 72 hours. Develop your mediumship, you pay $600 and in 3 days you are a fully developed medium. It does not work that way. Actually, it caused more harm than good. We heard cases of people that did this quick, fast courses on mediumship, and their mediumship became much worse, much more painful to them than their objective there. So the development of mediumship is something that has to be slow. It has to be through education that will take years. It is not fast. Don't believe in any promises. It is imprudent to push for the unfoldment if the person doesn't have any inclination to study the subject in the books that comprise the codification or other works. So if you want to become a medium, but you don't want to put the effort to learn and to educate yourself, you're going to cause you more harm than good. And you are really probably going to have serious consequences. The individual who is determined to put mediumistic ability to practice once it appears must bear in mind the importance, the significance of this faculty, must understand the responsibility that comes with being a medium, and use this faculty for development of themselves and at the service of others, remembering always what Spiritism teaches us. Without charity, there is no salvation. We can use mediumship as a way of practicing charity towards our fellow beings. And again, you don't need to use your mediumship in a mediumistic mediumship meeting. There are several ways to use mediumship in our daily lives, when we are assisting others, when we are working in a hospital, when we are working to the assistance of those in need in our families. There are several ways of using mediumship. We don't really need to go to a Spiritist center and work in a mediumship center. This is a myth that unfortunately it still exists even in Spiritist centers in Brazil. A lot of people that arrive here and says, I was told that I need to go to the mediumship meeting because I need to develop my mediumship. Well, you need to educate your mediumship before you go to any mediumship meeting. We don't need a guru today to guide through the learning of mediumship. We just need, through Spiritism, the teachings that Spiritism brings to us, because Spiritism demystified the old occultism and render the basic knowledge accessible to the ordinary person. If you really want to understand better about mediumship, just read the Medium's book. It is all there to start. You begin with the Medium's book and you have all the information you need. Oh, but this is a very big book. It's difficult to read. It's, you know, there's no pictures, like Divaldo said the first time he was asked to read the Spirit's book. Well, if you are serious in learning about mediumship and learning about how to educate and develop your mediumship, you have to start with the Medium's book. We should not forget that fostering mediumistic development still requires supervision, attention, and personal guidance of someone who has high moral values and the doctrinary conditions to promote it. Meaning, you look for the guidance of Kardec, of André Luiz through Francisco Cândido Xavier, of Joana de Ângeles, Manuel Filomeno de Miranda through Divaldo Franco, of Ivone Pereira, and you see the importance of mediumship and how to develop it. One should not attempt mediumship development by oneself, nor should be attempted without the support of books that are essential for the understanding of its basic concepts. It is dangerous. Don't do that. It is only going to harm you. It can cause a lot of disturbances, and the solution will be much more difficult to find if we start doing by ourselves. We don't have the preparedness to do that. So Chico Xavier told us that mediumship in essence must always be accompanied by inner improvement, because only the medium's improvement will enable the spirit to manifest in a better way. If the medium does not educate oneself, it cannot provide a good channel for the spirit to communicate. So what are good advices that we provide to mediums? First, and above all, educate yourselves. Fight your addictions, your imperfections, your problems, including the mental ones. We have to learn to be good, practice that we have to do every day. Read uplifting books every day and seek God through prayer. These are all advices not only to mediums, but to all of us as we want to evolve morally and intellectually. So according to Spiritism, the objective of mediumistic practice is to receive advice from enlightened spirits, to teach higher moral awareness to those imprisoned in the web of vice and passion, and to increase knowledge and clarity regarding our essential nature, spiritual origin, and ultimate destination. What we do in our mediumistic meetings, so with the mediumistic practice, is we receive messages from mentors that will help us and guide us and assist us on our daily lives. We talk to spirits that come in search of help, of understanding, that are imprisoned in this web of vice and passion, that are struggling with understanding where they are, what's the objective of their existence now they are back in the spiritual world, that many of them are not aware that they are back in the spiritual world. And with this, we increase our knowledge and we understand more about our essential nature, our origin, and where are we going, what happens in the spiritual world, how we can improve our position for when we go back to the spiritual world, we are better prepared to face the challenges that awaits us there in the spiritual world. It is a catalyst for human progress due to the benefits it brings, Spiritism and mediumship. So there are several books on mediumship. but we always say that we have to start with the medium's book. Of course, the Spirits book have a lot of information on mediumship. Of the books of André Luiz, the more important book is in the domain of mediumship, which is always say it's the description of a mediumistic meeting from the side of the spirits, and it's a basic book for Spiritism. This obsession that teaches us how to work in a mediumistic meeting. From Divaldo, we have Obsession, that is a wonderful book by Manuel Filomeno de Miranda. By Divaldo and Raul, we have Guidelines for Safety. By Nilson de Souza, for those that want to work in being counselors, we have the Spiritist Therapy for Discarnates, and other courses and guidelines that you can find in the United States Spiritist Federation website. But remembering what Kardec told us, the most important thing in Spiritism is not mediumistic phenomena, but its principles and its moral consequences. So mediumship is not what's most important in Spiritism. What is important in Spiritism is its principles and its moral consequences. Mediumship is a wonderful tool to help us achieve our moral and intellectual progress, but by itself, not accompanied by education, it can make our lives more difficult. So I just want to end with this interesting picture that talks to us about mediumship. When we know what we are doing, we are fearless. We should not fear mediumship, because mediumship is a wonderful instrument for us to progress. Thank you very much for your attention and for the opportunity. And I think we can open now for Leo to come back and our final comments or questions.
Perfect, Joao. Thank you so much for this amazing reminder, and I learned quite a bit as well. Even for those of us who have been in contact with Spiritism as well as mediumistic meetings and the studies, it was an amazing moment for all of us, and for those of us as well would like to learn. It's important for us to extend our hands for one another who wants to study a little bit more, wants to understand a little bit more. Remember to look for a location nearby, a Spiritist center. And that's actually one of the questions that we're going to talk about. So let's not go into detail directly. I wanted to go ahead and say thank you for all of those who followed us, and our welcomes, to here to Joao for this amazing topic as well, and the gratitude that we share with one another. But I would like to really dive into the questions that we have received from many of us. Kirsten, actually, start with, let's see here. Isn't it true that most people have subliminal mediumship, whether they believe it or not? Is it even worth trying to explain this to a non-believer?
Okay, thanks, Kirsten. Congratulations on the new baby. It is true, yes. Everyone has subliminal mediumship. We are all mediums, believe it or not. Like I said in the beginning, if we didn't have the ability to interact with the spiritual world, we wouldn't have guardian angels. What's the purpose of having guardian angels? Now, to explain this to non-believers, for those that are interested in a serious discussion, we can have a serious discussion and we can explain if they are willing to listen. We cannot convince anyone. But for those that are just are not interested in learning and they just don't accept it and that's it, we shouldn't waste our time. The time will come for everybody, and everybody will have to learn about it sooner or later. Maybe not in this life, maybe back in the spiritual world, or maybe in a new incarnation. So we have to choose our battles, right? How to pick our battles. We have to discuss with those that are prepared to have a healthy discussion with us, but not waste our time with those that are not really interested in learning about it.
Thank you, Joao. And the next question, also from Kirsten: is it possible to have a mental illness and have mediumship? Like the two can be sort of blended?
Oof, that's a tough one, Kirsten. Yes, it is possible, but of course, if you are mentally challenged, it's very hard to use mediumship in a healthy way. So the spirits are wise in a sense that most likely they will prevent the mediumistic to be ostensive in someone that has mental difficulties. But a lot of those that are mentally challenged, they live sometimes feeling like they are in a cage, and they are living in the spiritual world, the healthy part of their life during their dreams. So they are interacting with the spiritual world, but we wouldn't call them ostensive mediums, because they don't have the ability to control it, and will be a danger for them and for everyone else around them.
Thank you very much. Continue with this elaboration. Could you elaborate on intuition and inspiration? Is there any difference?
That's a good question. I would say probably not. Inspiration, I would say that intuition can come from us, from our own previous knowledge that is in the subconscious, but can also come from the spirits, from inspiration from the spirit. And inspiration can also come from both, but let's, if you want to separate, I would say that inspiration will come more from spirits and intuition from ourselves. But that's me. That's my interpretation. It's not based on anything I read or learned in Spiritism. Okay, to be very honest here.
Thank you, Joao. Souza also posted a question. But you already answered. I'm going to read anyway, just to make sure that we acknowledge. If the medium doesn't want to develop her or his, mediumship, can the high spirits take it from them? What is going to happen to him or her?
Yeah, I think it's important to. I know I spoke about it, but I think it's important to reinforce here that you cannot erase your mediumship. You cannot make it disappear. You can try to hide it, try to force it not to manifest, but more likely it's going to cause you more harm than good. So the best way is to educate. You don't need to be in a mediumship meeting. That's what's important. You don't need to go to a mediumship meeting. Use your mediumship in other places. Whenever you are doing charity, if you are a medium, you are using your mediumship in a healthy way, and you are not going to be disturbed.
Very well explained. Thank you. And then we move on to a question that was brought by Yasko. In the book, I believe, The Messengers, the spirit mentors find great difficulties to find a suited spiritist center with a mediumistic team to be useful to help them to assist the spiritists in need. Isn't getting more and more rare to have mediums of quality of Chico Xavier, Divaldo Franco? What are the main problems and how to overcome them?
I don't think that it's more and more rare to have mediums of the quality of Chico and Divaldo. I think that what we have is several mediums, different mediums and different types of work that we are doing. The importance of having Chico, Xavier, and Divaldo was for the amount of literature they brought to us that will guide us and direct us. But because Spiritism is doesn't have any dogmas. It doesn't have any pope. It doesn't have any one above imposing rules. There is a lot of free will and a lot of deviations from true Spiritism that you find. But for us, we stick to the basics. We stay with Kardec, we stay with Chico, and we stay with Divaldo, that we are safe. And then, by having the knowledge on the basics of Spiritism, we can go further in other literature. That is always important to read books, and even books outside Spiritism, for us to learn what's going out there. But I think that we continue to see books and mediums of great quality coming out with very good literature, and I'm sure the spirits know what they are doing. So we are not going to stay orphans of good guidance if we look in the right direction.
Thank you, Joao. And then we'll have Daniel, who actually want to know, what is the appropriate age to start participating in mediumship meetings?
That's a very good question, Daniel, because we hear in the time of Kardec that he was using young people. There is normally the answer, there is no specific answer. The general answer is when the person is mature enough to understand the importance of being part of a mediumship meeting. And this varies with each person. So, if we are going to say an age, of course, we would think that you have to be after adolescence, because during adolescence, we are still very confused and subject to mood swings and a lot of issues. But there are people that are mature enough when they are adolescents to be part of a mediumship meeting. So it's the role of the directors of the mediumship meeting to analyze and evaluate the responsibility of the person. So of course, we're not going to bring children or pre-teens to mediumship meetings. That doesn't make sense. But once they become adolescents, I would say the vast majority shouldn't be brought, but there are exceptions, and it's the role of the mediumship directors or the directors of the Spiritist centers to understand who is prepared and who's not to be part of a mediumship meeting.
Thank you, Joao. And one of the things that I would like to ask Joao, because they're in this idea of developing, you brought some of the comments on the purpose, right? The reasons why we have mediumistic meetings, and the reason for the mediumship as well. If I were to come to you and say, look, Joao, I'm a medium, and I want to know more about it, what should I do? Or if somebody comes to us and asks the same question, what should we do?
You should go to a Spiritist center. If there is no Spiritist center around you nowadays, you go to the internet and you ask for serious people, guidance, people that know about mediumship and know about Spiritism, whom to watch in lectures in the internet, studies in the internet. But educate, study. That's the only way we're going to develop ourselves. And the guidance it's available. Spiritism is available to all of us. But of course, we'll find people that want to rush into it. We'll have people that have no intention of committing to it, and they're going to try to find shortcuts to it. And they are going to get into problems. But the only thing we can do is try to direct them to go to a Spiritist center, or if they don't have a Spiritist center around them, to go to find study groups. Nowadays, you can find study groups in the internet. All of our groups are doing study groups that happens. We have a study group of mediumship every week in our group as GNY. On every Thursday. So, you just have to look around, and find one that you like and you feel comfortable. That's very important, because you cannot force yourself to go to a place where you don't feel comfortable, because you're going because you want.
Perfect. Thank you, Joao. Very helpful. Then I'm going to move on to Paula, who asked, what is going on when a spirit incorporates in the medium and the medium's voice changes?
Yeah. Thanks, Paula. Yeah, we just one small thing. We're trying to move away from incorporation. This was something that was used in the past, and because why we're trying to, it's not that is wrong. It's just that it may give an impression that the spirit is going inside the body of the medium, and that's not the case. It's everything happens outside the body of the medium. The connection between the two perispirits, actually the perispirit of the medium detaches itself from the physical body and connects with the perispirit of the spirit outside the body. So it's just a comment here on the term incorporation that we probably should see less and less. So what happens is that some mediums, the influence of the spirit is so strong that they will talk in a different voice that can and or cannot. It's a mixture of their own voice and the voice of the spirit, and it can be a very different voice. You see in mediumship meetings, sometimes the mediums, their faces change, their appearances, their mannerisms. It's the influence of the spirit. So if the connection is very strong, that can happen, that the voice changes. But it doesn't mean, again, it never means that the medium has no control of it. The medium always has to be in control of the communication. But the voice changes is a possibility, like other things that happen in mediumship, that it's not right or wrong, it's just some manifestation.
Thank you, Joao. And then we move on to Alba, who asks, well, should first say thank you for it, for this amazing moment. Can you mention some of the consequences of not educating our mediumship, i.e., an ostensible medium who refuses to educate his or her mediumship?
Okay, if you don't educate your mediumship and you don't learn how to control it, it can cause physical disturbances, mental disturbances. You see these people talking to themselves in the street, right? Nowadays, you suppose they're talking on the cell phone, but in the past, when we didn't have cell phones, we would call them those crazy people talking to themselves. In reality, they're talking to spirits, that they are mediums that are seeing spirits. So when you don't learn to educate your mediumship, you are going to be susceptible to physical and mental disturbances that can be less serious or more serious according to the degree of mediumship that you have. So the education is a healthy way to control your mediumship. And you can try to run away from it, but it's not possible. It is there. You cannot block it. If you block it, you can block it for a certain time, but you will explode at a certain point, and then the damage will be worse.
Thank you, Joao. We have a couple more questions that we would like to go over. Very interesting questions, by the way, everyone. I'd like to thank you for taking the time. Yes. We're picking his brain right now and hanging there, Joao. Paul, again, how do you understand the individual mediumship sessions provided at Lilydale for a fee?
Yeah, we don't want to criticize the work that they do there. They do a beautiful work. They have a different belief, and there are some differences with Spiritism. When you charge for a session, you are supposed to provide a service. So the very basic is the spirits, like Chico used to say, the phone rings from there to here, not from here to there. So someone pays you for a session, and you are there, and the medium and the spirit doesn't show. You have two alternatives. You give the money back or you lie. Most mediums, unfortunately, will lie. So what they are doing there, it's an ambient that is protected, that has a lot of good spirits working with them. But they have their limitations because, for instance, they believe that all communications are from evolved spirits there. And we know that spirits are just us on the other side. So you can have evolved spirits and you can have less evolved spirits giving the communication. You expose yourself for the spirits that want to take advantage. The person who's paying, if they deserve to receive help and assistance, if the spirits think that they deserve, they will receive what they need, independent of the medium being a real medium, fake medium, or a real medium who's faking. But the risk of charging is that, whenever you commercialize something, you run a lot of risks. When you are doing with it without charging anything, they can accuse you of anything, but you are not charging. You are doing it for free. You are just following what Spiritism teaches us. So, there is no claim to taking advantage because there is nothing. You are not charging anything. So again, I respect the work they do in Lilydale. It's a beautiful place. It's really worth visiting. But there are differences with the Spiritism that, if you know about Spiritism and you go there, you'll see the differences. There is a little bit lack of study of mediumship, in my opinion.
Thank you, João. I have 3 more questions that we would like to share. I know you probably will be asking more and sharing more, but because of time, we're going to restrict to these 3 last questions. And Ana Fernandez asks, how do you recommend an unconscious medium to develop?
So it's not the medium who chooses to be a conscious, unconscious, or semi-conscious. It's the mediumship the medium has. It's the same way as others. Educate yourself. You are going to develop your mediumship by educating yourself. If it is unconscious, conscious, or semi-conscious, it's not up to the medium. It's the mediumship that the medium has. There is no way of you to choose the type of mediumship that you are going to have. It's what it is. Your mediumship is going to be one of the 3, or 2 of the 3. It can be. You can be as unconscious as semi-conscious at different times, or it can be conscious and semi-conscious at different times. But I never heard of conscious and unconscious at the same time. But anyway, it's developing is a study.
Thank you, João. And next, we have Ralph Porter here saying, what is a healthy practice for rejuvenating and combating medium fatigue?
Prayer, charity. That's the ways that you are going to overcome. If you're talking about medium fatigue, meaning the medium gets... normally, what we see in our mediumistic meetings is that after the session, the mediums are better than before, because normally before they bring the troubling spirits with them, and then during the meeting, the troubling spirits are taken away and they feel better. So the medium fatigue on the medium of physical effects, which is a big problem. And if that's your question, then it has to be through prayer and through charity and through rest. Again, not using it all the time. You use it at a specific allotted time for it. Do not abuse it.
Thank you. And then we move on to Irasema, who asks, can mediumship cease in the life of a medium?
Yes, it can. The same way that it can appear late in life, it can disappear at a certain point for several reasons. Maybe it was enough for that life. You did what you were supposed to do and you no longer need the mediumship. Maybe you are abusing it and the spirits are helping you because, you are in such a good path that you are going to direction that the mediumship is going to harm you. So the spirits are kind enough to remove your abilities to be a medium, so you can not cause harm to yourself and others. Diseases that can harm, prevent you from being a medium also can happen.
João, I actually lied. I'm sorry. I thought I said it was going to be only 3 more questions, but we have one more. And we stopped right over here, okay?
Okay.
And Raquel asked, when developing mediumship skills, is it important to do it within one center only, and why?
So, what we learn in Spiritism is that you should only work in a mediumship meeting in one center, because each center has its different energies, different mentors, different ways of working, and it is important for us to attune ourselves with the group and with the spiritual ambient of one Spiritist center. Again, this is for mediumship only. You want to go study in 4 different Spiritist centers, that's not a problem. You want to be lecture and watch lectures, give lectures, participate in several Spiritist centers. This is all fine, perfectly fine, and actually, it can help you and can help others. Specifically on mediumship, the recommendation is for you to stay with one medium, one Spiritist group only. Now, if there is no medium Spiritist group around you, how can I work my mediumship? Then you study and you use it in different forms, as we mentioned here. You use it to help and assist others in any form that you can without really working in a mediumship meeting. Or you start your own medium Spiritist group with those around you, and you start studying and developing a group, and eventually you end up starting a mediumship group.
Thank you, João, and for this amazing, again, topic that you bring to us for our discussion. Amazing answers for these amazing questions that we had here. Would like to thank you again, and your family also. Say a big hello to Jusada for all of us, and I would like to ask you to finalize with a prayer to illuminate us, all of us, ostensive mediums or not, that we're always in connection, right, with the spiritual world, giving thanks for this amazing moment and for many more to come here at the SSB or any other Spiritist center or any connection that you may have to learn Spiritism. So if I may ask you to please say the final words, say the prayer, I will thank you, and we'll meet next time.
And first, I want to thank you all for your attention, for the questions, really very good questions. I want to congratulate SSB for the work that you guys have been doing for so long. You know that we work together. We are always connected, and we respect the work that you do, and we really admire you guys. So congratulations on your work, and thank you for this opportunity, and we hope to be together again very soon. So we are going to elevate our thoughts. We're going to thank the spiritual benefactors for this wonderful opportunity of being reunited once again in the name of our Master Jesus. We thank the opportunity of learning. We ask the spiritual benefactors to assist us, to help us, so we can better be able to put in practice on our daily lives everything that we have received here. We ask for special protection for all those that are struggling through this pandemic, for those losing loved ones, for those going through financial difficulties, for all those that are going back to the spiritual world, that they may find peace that they may find resignation, acceptance, and above all, faith in the future, faith in God. We thank our Master Jesus for another opportunity of being reunited in his name, and with our hearts full of gratitude, we ask permission to close our meeting. So be it.
Thank you, everyone, and until next time. Thank you.
Thank you.